Welcome to your Daily 5 for Wednesday, October 9th, 2024. You may have heard of the technology news website Gizmodo. If not recently, then probably you might remember that some number of years ago there was a bunch of attention over the fact that they were given or solicited a stolen iPhone, and that involved some sheriffs showing up at some of the reporters for the website's house. There was, of course, the larger parent company Gawker that was involved in a lawsuit with Hulk Hogan, the loss of which dissolved that part of the company. But Gizmodo and some of the other sites that were part of the Gawker network have stuck around and have been trying to make a go of it, even in a very tough environment for websites to survive in. And I have generally visited the site fairly regularly because there are some authors there and some people who post some opinions and articles that I like. I've enjoyed a lot of the reviews that are there. But I have noticed, as a lot of other people have, that the site has obviously been struggling, and there have been some well-documented news items from people within and ex-employees of the website about the new owners and the fact that they are adopting an extraordinarily, I would call it like a zero margin approach where everything has to make money. They need to post as much as possible. It all has to be generating clicks. Kind of the basic model that many websites at this point are forced to use if they are not being subsidized or do not have very rich backers. That's just kind of how it is now with advertising and everything else in decline. This is what typically free websites have to resort to, trying to generate as many clicks for advertisers as possible. And essentially, Gizmodo, some number of years ago, like many websites, and very similar to many websites, there's actually kind of a familiarity if you look around to how website redesigns have been going in the last 5 or 6 years. And they redesigned, I think, a little longer than that ago. And when they did that, their front page, their default front page, became extraordinarily cluttered and almost unusable, I think, for at least me. And I know, based on the comments I read, many other people. And so what I have been utilizing up until very recently is the latest link. If you go to Gizmodo at the top, there's a button that says latest, and that would just give you a nice, simple, laid out chronological feed top to bottom where you could scan through it, click on stories, and it was just a much more intuitive and simple way to see what news items were posted. And I started noticing a while ago that they were injecting little kind of ad links in there. Deals is what they call them. And that's fine. I understood what that was about, and that's just how it goes. But I remember thinking to myself, well, if it ever gets to the point where at least half of what I'm seeing here are ads, then this website is done for me. And sure enough, that came at the beginning of this week. I had opened it up and I realized, oh, these are, and I some of them are worded very interestingly to try to not make you think that they are in fact ads, but then it says the word deals near them, and you can see it on the link that I provide. You will see that at least half of what was on the page I counted are ads. And I thought, okay, well, let me go back to the front page, which I haven't looked at in a long time, and let's see if that's improved. If it is, then I'll just go back to the front page. That's fine. Because I still have been enjoying the legitimate pieces written by people that were not entirely designed to sell things. So I thought, well, let me give this a second chance. Went to the front page, and it is as cluttered and filled with just way too much information that is not organized properly as I expected. And at that point, what I did was I went up to my bookmark list and I simply deleted Gizmodo, which I really don't like doing because there are people on that website whose work I appreciate. But the reality is the website is essentially unusable for me now. And it's a shame because I feel like this is a trend that many websites are going towards. This is not the first one of these that I've had to delete off of my bookmarks because it became dominated by ads and by, or whatever they want to call it, sponsored links, all that type of stuff, which here and there, it's not a big deal. At least most people who understand how the web works, understand that these websites have to at least generate some type of revenue. And if it's ad-based and not subscription-based, that's going to be ads. But when it starts to dominate what you're seeing, it does no service to the content. In fact, if anything, it will make me not look at it because I will get annoyed at how many deals in a row show up, and I'll just click off the site. So I hope this is not the beginning of the end for Gizmodo, but it feels like it is when you're hitting half of your stuff and it's selling something, that seems to me to be a bad signal. So I'm not predicting anything. I have no inside knowledge, but unfortunately for Gizmodo, now that they have surpassed the 50% marker on their sponsored ads or just deals or whatever they're calling it, it's gone the way of the dodo, and I don't know if that has larger implications, but I can't think that it's a good sign. Later.